Hello, I am Brother Kelly Hughes, Chaplain of the Arts. We are broadcasting live to tape from the beautiful Valiant Theatre here in the heart of Winnipeg's greasy Tenderloin. This is Kelly Hughes Live Slices Fringe Edition. We're on hour 11, I think. We air on 101.5 UMFM, normally on Saturdays at 1 p.m. throughout Fringe. We are all over the place, so glad that you've caught up if you're listening to us on the radio. If you're watching this, we are on YouTube from now until the earth gets swallowed by the sun. So thank you so much for stopping by, and thank you so much to my guests for stopping by. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
We've got Sherri, Elle, we have got Neil Parsons, and we have got Katy Welsh. Lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for stopping by. Neil, I really just I wish that your show was not called 50% Nonverbal. I wish it was called the Neil Parsons Project, but that's just me.
Well, it was just a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah,
The Neil Parsons Project.
So the thing that I like to ask is, I like to ask people, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, why you exist, and then give the elevator pitch for your show. Neil looks like he's good to go.
All right. Well, my show is called 50% Nonverbal, and it is a mostly solo variety show that includes storytelling, performance art, and inarticulate nonsense. For the verbal portion of it, I do some storytelling, stand-up-ish, and some TED Talk style speaking. And then the other nonverbal portion of it, I play trombone, I dance. I play trombone while I dance. So it's fun. Fun for me, hopefully fun for the audience. I'm here to spread whatever joy I can at this moment in...
You skipped right to the second part. You can do the first part?
Oh, that was my pitch. And
yes.
That's why I exist, right? So what's my story? I grew up on stage and backstage. My parents were in theater, and for as long as I've been alive, as long as I've known who I was, I've been a performer. So I feel most like myself when I'm on stage or when I'm creating something to be on stage.
So you're unable to be a normal human being, is what you're saying.
I don't know what normal is. This is normal for me, and it's gotten me this far.
And where are you from?
I live in Boston.
Boston, okay. Katy?
So I'm Katy. I'm from Central Alberta, but I've been living in Calgary pretty much all of my adult life. And up until very recently, I've been working as a laboratory technician, and I've made the pivot to pursuing becoming a teacher. It was an interesting time in Alberta to start pursuing that. I didn't do much theater as a kid or as a teenager. A little bit more into like sports and robotics and things like that. But
as one is,
and my partner ended up pursuing doing some improv through the Kinkanauts in Calgary, some of the classes, and then eventually became a member of the company. And I met a whole bunch of really wonderful people, and then they all went and had fun on stage without me. And I was like, well, I guess I have to go up there too if I want to have fun with my friends. So that's kind of what brought me to doing improv and theater in general. And we are a troupe called Couch Surfing. All of us were trained through the Kinkanauts, and we do long form improv, very lighthearted. We are very theatrical in our own ways. We do a cappella musical interludes between our scenes, which is really fun. And I think my favorite thing about the show is that getting to merge some really wacky and zany things with just those parts of life that everyone kind of recognizes as important to their lives. And I love when people come up to me after the shows and they're like, that reminds me of when I was here at this place or here at that place. And that's what I really love about it.
Nice. Sherri?
I live here in Winnipeg. I grew up in Manitoba, so I've been here my whole life. I knew that I was a performer probably, but I didn't have necessarily that path in front of me aside from when I was like in grade 1 and they figured I assume what happened is that the teacher figured that I was a kid who could A, remember the words, and B, was loud enough to say them for the Christmas concert. And so I got to be the Snow Queen in the grade 2 Christmas concert and was sort of like hooked. But took another path because it, didn't necessarily seem like theater was like a thing one would do.
It's not.
You know, so and then it was improv. Actually, a friend of mine. I was just out for like dinner with a friend of mine about 15 years ago, and she said she was going to take an improv class at Prairie Theater Exchange when I still ran the school, and I was like, "What? Tell me more about that." And she did, and so I'm like, "Would it be okay with you if I came too?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure." So I started improv classes, and through there, I got connected to Alan Fair of Real Life, and ended up in some of his productions, and then just got connected with TJ Daw, did his writing class, and so in the past I've stood up a few of my own shows. This one I didn't write, but it's a solo. So it's called The Not So Secret Life of Rowena Riddle, Superhero. And it's about
now nobody has to pay to go.
Well, it's just the name of the show.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's at the Kids Fringe, so but yeah, it's about a woman who has a interesting superpower, and she comes and shares it.
Okay. Well, those are all good. I just want to backtrack to one thing though. So, Katy, you said robotics and sports.
Yeah.
Did you put them together like robot sports teams? Because that's kind of what I would like to hear about. Wouldn't you like to hear about that, Neil? Robot sports.
Yeah.
So there is a company called First Robotics, and they run robotics competitions for a lot of different age groups, but it's kind of starts with like the Little Lego League, and it's like very small little robots, and it's mostly like upper elementary kids, kind of preteens-ish. But as you go further, you end up building kind of bigger and bigger robots, and so every year they bring out a game, and that's the challenge for that year. And so one of the years I competed, it was almost kind of like basketball, but with a lot of other stuff going on. And so you build a new robot every year with a group of people in your team, and you're trying to build it to do the best at that competition. And then there's someone who has to drive it and operate it, and they have to train and get ready. So it is kind of like merging robotics and sports together. Usually when I tell people about robotics, they think about like Robot Wars and like where they beat all
robots bashing the shit out of each other, which I think is the best use for robots. I think once you get to the point, where you build the lifelike robot that's called Katy, I mean, we've gone too far, right?
Yeah,
we all can agree that.
Yeah.
All can agree that it's too much.
Yeah.
So that is Katy, and you got into stuff because you had FOMO, fear of missing out on improv.
Yeah, yep.
Neil, you are a theater brat.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first show that you were in?
I do. Yeah. So my first professional production, I was age 3.
Ooh.
And my father was the artistic director of an outdoor drama in Ohio, Chillicothe, Ohio, where they still have Tecumseh, telling about, Battle of Tippecanoe and the Shawnee trying to, maintain their presence in North America. And I was on stage and backstage. And
what did you play?
Well, I was a settler child. So, I got to come out and be, the symbol of settler colonialism in North America. So, little of a mixed sort of message there. But
like having your face associated with it.
yeah. But just an amazing experience to spend the summer outdoors on this mountain, not a very large mountain, but my family lived in a trailer just out in the woods, and every day was spent with nature. And there were horses, of course, in the production, and I was always excited to help ride the horses back to their stables every night after the show. And just like that was what my family did. So that's who I was.
And this is still going on?
Yeah. Tecumseh still produces the outdoor drama every summer.
And is your dad still involved or no?
No.
This is a while ago.
Yeah, we only did that for a few years, and then I sort of mostly grew up in Florida, where my parents ran a dinner theater, and that's where I continued to hone my craft as a musical theater triple threat. Culminating in 4th grade, I played Winthrop in The Music Man. So that's also the point where I was first playing a brass instrument on stage
Okay.
in a professional production.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later in middle school, I chose the trombone. And
Mm-hmm.
the rest is history.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. My mom put me on stage when I was about 6 or 7. It was a production of Lil Abner, which nobody does anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not. Some of those things are not very. I don't know how politically correct your Tecumseh thing was, but some of those old musicals are a bit dated. Have the politics changed in the Tecumseh thing?
I'm sure that they've, over the years made many updates to performance practices.
I mean, now I'm sure it's been mandated to go back to the old, to the old ones, right, by the government. So make Tecumseh great again.
Right, exactly.
So when do you think you got good?
When did I get good?
Yeah.
I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was good, but I was committed and I was in it.
Yeah.
All along. And I've had this privileged existence of having very few moments in my life when I've not known when my next performance was scheduled to be. So I was always working towards the next show, except for moments when it was, the dark times where I have no idea when I'm performing next or what I'm going to create next. And that's not a good place for me to be.
So Sherri, as sort of a late bloomer, how do you feel sitting next to this child prodigy hearing? Do you feel jealous?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of opportunity that just was you had a different path. So, but I probably took advantage of less formal opportunities for performance. I could stand on the table and sing for all the relatives at Christmas. And
Yeah. Did they
why not?
appreciate that?
They did when I was small.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
when you're bigger,
little and cute.
when you're bigger, they just wanted you to get off
Oh,
the table.
we want to eat.
Do you have parents that are alive still?
My mom is. My dad's gone.
Did your dad ever see you in anything?
He not recently. They don't live here,
Yeah.
So he didn't see anything like any of the recent.
Yeah. How about your mom?
No, she hasn't either. But I did high school drama, and they saw all those things.
What do you think she thinks about it?
I think she thinks it's a neat little thing that I'm doing, but I'm not sure if she. I think she thinks that it's something I'm interested in, so I might as well do so.
She doesn't think you're a lunatic. She
think she thinks I'm a lunatic.
She thinks it's keeping you out of trouble.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, keeping you off the table.
Yeah. Out of the newspaper.
Katy, do you have parents?
Yeah, my mom.
What does she think about what you're doing?
My mom really loves improv. Every time she's down in Calgary, she lives a couple hours out of the city, and whenever she's down in the city, she wants to go see a show at the theater, and she's very supportive and very interested. And she will gab on and on after the show of, oh, it's just so nice, whenever I go to a scripted show and it starts going badly, I feel really bad. But when it starts going badly, an improv show, I just really want you to do better. And so I can cope with it better, which is, she's great. She, I don't know, she doesn't give herself very much credit, but she's a very funny person. And she really she jokes around a lot, and she's usually kind of the center of attention at family gatherings. So I hope I at least get some of my sensibilities from her.
How raunchy do your improv shows get?
Not particularly.
No. So you're not worried that she's going to come and it's going to be,
I think my mom would be more likely to make those jokes
than
I am. I'm not against blue humor, but I'm pretty prudish when it comes to it. My mom is a little bit raunchier with her jokes. So
do you have rules with your troupe, or does kind of content rules, or does everybody just kind of have the same inclinations?
I think I don't know if we've ever explicitly talked about it, as far as, we do check in with everyone when we, right before we go on stage, we have a check-in, see where everyone's at, see is there kind of anything that's a little sore to the touch, anything that we should kind of shy away from, just to take care of one another. But overall, when it comes to, because we all were trained the Kinkanauts has a conservatory program
Mhm.
that every year they take in a batch of about 12 to 15 people, and it's about 10 months of weekly training together. And they're wanting to build a cohesive group, but then they enter the company broadly. So
Mhm.
most of us, when it comes to our training, we come from a very similar place, and a
Mhm.
bunch of us in this current cast were trained together as one conservatory. So it's for the most part, it's never anything that we've really sat down
Mhm.
and discussed, but I think we have a lot of the same kind of inclinations because we
Mhm.
all share similar training.
Just improv is very interesting to me because it's such a big tent and it can, be all kinds of different things. Here we've got clean improv. One of the troops is clean improv, Cross-Eyed Rascals.
Mhm.
They do one sort of dark evening, and and that's and that's for they do that for different reasons. I don't know about clean improv people. I know you can't trust clean comics. I know that. um, but it's interesting. Like, and then a lot of times you see people just kind of going for the lowest hanging fruit and the cheap laugh and whatever. And Improvision, who's here, who's been around forever, and they're so good. There's three of them, and I was at one of their shows a couple of years ago, and they're asking for audience suggestions, and one of them was I don't remember. There was one thing, and there was a second thing was a job, and it was uh, gynecologist, and the third thing was a person, and somebody said Bill Cosby, uh, and they all just stopped, and Audra, who kind of runs the timer and all the stuff and whatever, and they just kind of looked at her and she said, "Nope, we're not doing it." And even within the stuff, gynecologists can be a bit dodgy. Even within that thing that they were doing, it was funny, but it didn't sort of become too much. And I kind of, uh, when people are been doing something like that for so long, they know how to, they know how to get where they want to go without being awful.
Mhm.
Whereas some people just, they're going to go for the cheapest thing or the, kind of the worst, most shocking thing they can think of.
I think
Yeah.
with improv, if you're like when you get to know the people, you probably find the people who are
Yeah.
similar to you,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Like the low hanging fruit people find each other,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
Well, and I think with improv, it's when it comes to you've got, our show is 60 minutes. If we immediately go for the low hanging fruit, then where do we go from there, right? Like you want to start lower and work your way up, right? Like if you start with a blow line, then you just kind of have to stop. So I think that's a big part of it. I think there's also, I think, at least for long form improv, for me, I can't remember what book I read it in, but basically the gist of it is that you as the performer are not funny. The character you have made in the situation they are in may be funny, but you are never funny. And that really stuck with me, especially for long form of I don't go out there with the intention to do something funny.
I heard a really interesting thing from uh, it was Steve Martin yesterday, and he was talking about how that he had always learned that when you're sort of setting up jokes, you're creating tension, and then the punchline relieves the tension, and you kind of do a series of that. And he said he decided that he wanted to stop. He was going to try to not do the punchlines, and then just do these setups and these setups and these setups and build this tension. And then he said that the people are going to have to relieve the tension, and then people are going to have to figure out on their own what's funny. Like they're not going to laugh when you tell them to, and that's why I like shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. They do a lot of that where there's just funny stuff, and there's not, it's just a bit, and then it's gone, and there was no kind of punchline with it. and then there's just so many of those, and everybody finds a different thing funny.
I've actually been rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and there
Yeah.
was an episode recently where it's like, wait, on the page, the end of that scene is not at all funny.
Yeah.
Like the last line, the blow, like it's
Mhm.
not funny, but the delivery of it was so spot on and so in character. And
Mhm.
over the years with that show, they were able to steep themselves in their characters
Mhm.
so much
Yeah.
that it's the portrayal and the characterization that is funny, and the words themselves don't have to be funny
Mhm.
for us to really get into it.
I'm obsessed with it, and my partner and I, we both live with a lot of mental health stuff, and so my partner will often just watch it over and over and over again because it's it's a gentle show, and it's
Mhm.
very good natured, and nobody is um, nobody's bad, nobody's unlikable. Even Gina, who does bad things, she says at some point, well, of course I'm going to do that. I'm a rascal, and that's, and even Hitchcock and Scully, like there was one episode where they did sort of a serious thing about sexual assault, and at the beginning, and Hitchcock says something, and Holt, there was they don't ever really break the fourth wall, but there's a few jokes that are pretty close to being meta, and one of them was Hitchcock says something, and Holt says, "You know what, Hitchcock, why don't you go home? This isn't your week." And just sends him off the show because they're like, well, we can't have him on the show because he's the pervert. So we'll just he just leaves.
Mhm.
So, stuff like that. But I love how it's, I mean, I love how they set everything up. And I mean, I love the show, but I love that it's good natured, because so many things are, and there's lots of things that are funny, but are really not good natured, like Curb Your Enthusiasm, or you know what I mean. There's lots of things that are like that, and it's just kind of nice to I don't know. It's nice to have your pretend that your faith in humanity is still there.
Mhm.
Andre Brower died a year or two ago, which is really sad. And I've read some stuff about him, like he was always a serious actor, Shakespearean trained, all that stuff. And he would always be, is this funny? He would always, be doing like a line reading and like asking the other actors who'd done all this comedy, is this funny? And wanting to make sure. And I mean, he was really funny. I mean, uh, and you kind of think, I don't know if somebody else would have made that funny, but it was yeah, it was just a great setup. Um, uh, was there anything that you watched, Katy, that was like on TV or movies or something you saw live or whatever that just kind of made you kind of feel like, yeah, I'd really like to do that?
Oh, interesting.
Finally, 23 minutes in, I finally asked an interesting question.
um, Let me think. There is one of the shows that I kind of found the most, I guess, comfort in is I've always really loved the Jane Austen adaptations, and I find watching them and trying to pick apart where, because Jane Austen wrote during a time like she was somewhat making fun of the higher class. Like she was kind of poking fun at them and
Mhm.
how ridiculous they are and
Mhm.
how ridiculous their problems are. And I've always found that really, really interesting, for, I don't know, kind of inspiration of these characters that really don't know that they're being ridiculous, and they really don't know that they are funny. And so I think that's where I got a lot of inspiration from. My very first improv show I ever went and saw was an improvised Jane Austen, and there was maybe 10 people in the audience. Like, it wasn't a very big crowd, but it was just raucous because the performers just had you eating out of their hand. And there was romance and murder plots, and like, which murder's not necessarily Jane Austen, but you eventually get there when you have a whole bunch of characters. You kind of find your way back to that. But I think that's what I think probably one of the first things where I was like, that would be really fun to do.
Sherri, what inspired you, other than your friend telling you to do it?
And this one came, and I just put it in the back of my brain pocket because it was probably 10 years before I actually got into improv class. But Rick Miller's Bigger Than Jesus. I saw that at the warehouse here in like 02, 03, 04, like somewhere in there, and was just like, had to pick my jaw up off the ground. Like, it was amazing. And I was like, that's just like so incredible. And to be able to do, all the things and be part of something like that would be really, really cool. So that one's always been sort of floating in the back of my head. So I was lucky. I've had opportunities to meet him and speak to him, and he's a fabulous person. So
Neil, I'm going to ask you the opposite question. Since you've always been on stage, you ever feel like you were going to quit?
I didn't necessarily feel like I was going to quit, but that maybe it was going to quit me. But also, I grew up on stage, and I was a theater kid, music, theater, dance, like taking jazz, tap, ballet classes, singing lessons, all the stuff. And then once I got more serious about music, and instrumental music in particular, I thought, okay, I'm going to major in music. And when I said that out loud, all the theater people in my life were like, oh, this is great. You're getting out. You're going to have a career. You can have a career in music. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. It's all about context, right? And so then I did go to Oberlin Conservatory to major in music. And then my junior year, I took a modern dance class and went, oh no, I've put this part of myself on a shelf for too long, and I can't do that again. This is now, I know that this is an essential part of me. I'm going to be a dancing, acting, bass trombonist for my career, a job that does not exist. So that was the moment, junior year of undergrad, where it's like, okay, I absolutely have to find a way to make that happen. I don't know how it's going to work, but to quote Joseph Campbell, follow your bliss. And if you do follow your bliss, doors will open for you that you didn't know were there. And I am absolutely like the weirdest, poster child for that. Because pretty much as soon as I decided I'm going to be this dancing, acting, bass trombonist, and I'm not going to sit in the back row of an orchestra, and I want to have more of a connection with my audience, then I discovered, oh, there's this company that does this work. And like, a couple of years later, fast forward, that was my dream gig. And I dropped out of grad school to have my dream job and tour full time with a company of conservatory trained musicians who also were actors, dancers, educators.
But you're basically just a fancy carny.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was raised by carnies. When my parents would cast people to be in their shows, they were also casting babysitters for my brothers and myself. Yeah. And there was one time in particular, they sent someone from the cast with the company car to come pick me up after school. I had never met this person. And I was like, well, I recognize the car, but I don't recognize you. I'm going to stay here. So I sent my ride away, and I just was sitting out there for a couple more hours waiting for someone. But yeah, I grew up carnies and weirdos and misfits. That's my life.
Are your parents still around?
My mother is, yeah. And my father actually passed away in 2014, and my first solo show is very much a tribute to him. So I brought a show here in 2022. My first solo show was called 1,000 Words, and it combines stories and photographs and audio recordings that he made while he was serving as a combat photographer in Vietnam. Combining that with interludes where I play trombone and dance around and tell my own stories, and it's a weird kind of mashup of ideas, but that's kind of
It's
how
fringy.
It is fringy,
Yeah.
and
I saw it. It was great.
Yeah. and it's been so wonderful to like come back here. I absolutely adore Winnipeg. It's 10 years since I was first here, but people remember me from 2016. People remember me from 2022. Someone wore my pin from my show, 1,000 Words, yesterday to my show and said, I was here. I loved your show, 1,000 Words, and I loved the show too. So,
and Neil Head.
Yeah.
Right.
Is your mother proud of you?
My mom is the greatest audience member you can ever ask for in a show. And she came to this show that I did. I premiered it in Orlando Fringe.
Yeah.
She lives in Florida. So she came to, I believe, 4 out of 7 shows that I had there. Then a week ago, she presented me doing this show sort of as a warm-up for this festival as part of a reunion for the Dinner Theater in Florida. She's, absolutely my biggest fan. Yeah, she's just amazingly supportive, and also it's not just for me. Like, I know that her fondness for my work is not just because she's my mom, but she is so amazingly proud of every Fringe performer and performance she's seen at the Fringe. And she just walks right up to people that I was first like really shy to, hey, I really love your work, I'm a fellow performer, and she's just like, I love your thing. And yeah, she adopts all of the Fringe performers as her favorites.
How many Fringes have you done?
The definitive count depends on if it's in person or digital.
We're not counting the pandemic.
Yeah.
Pandemic is a black hole.
Pandemic's a black hole, and time has no meaning.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. It's a flat circle.
Yeah. So I am nearing 40 festivals.
And how many times have you been here?
This is my 5th. Yeah.
Now, Katy, I heard I overheard in the green room that this is your first.
Yes.
Is your first Winnipeg Fringe or your first Fringe?
So this is my first Winnipeg Fringe. I haven't performed in any other Fringes. This is my first Fringe I've been performing in, but I've been to a few things around Calgary Fringe, and then I've been up to Edmonton Fringe once to see some folks that one of the other members of my cast is my fiance, and so he was here last year with another production, and so we went up to Edmonton to go see. We ended up going and seeing Brain, which fabulous people. They're doing another show this year, Kidnapping.
Yeah, I had them on the other day, and they're great.
They're great people. So yeah, it's my first time around, and I'm really loving it.
So yeah, because it's like day 4. Day 4. Have you met lots of new people?
Oh, so many people. Well, and so many people that apparently know of me. My fiance gossips a lot, and
a tea spiller.
Well, him and I got engaged last year, and then I found out when everyone came to Calgary Fringe, they were like, I want to see the ring in person. And I'm like, in person? He had been going around showing everyone photos of the ring that he bought and telling them how he was going to propose. Like,
is this the person you want to marry?
Yeah, unfortunately. No, he's wonderful. But yeah, so there's a lot of people who seem to know me, which was a very interesting thing to experience, but I'm meeting a lot more of them now, and meeting just a lot of really, really great folks. Especially we've met a few people out canvassing that are just really cool, and gotten to sit and chat with them for a while. It was really nice.
Now, Sherri, you've been going to Fringe a long time, but you've been in it for how long? The last?
My first one was in 2016.
Yeah.
I think I've done about 8.
Yeah. And so. There's lots of people that you just see once a year, right? But how would you describe it to somebody that didn't? I mean, I say it's summer camp for arts nerds.
Yeah,
But like,
I've actually, I was like spinning on that. I was like, it's like a kind of like a retreat, or it's like it'd be like high school if you like the people you went to high school with, you know. And it's like, oh, and then I landed on summer camp just before you said that out loud. So that sort of like, this isn't the real world, but these are real people. It's like this sort of like bubble that we're in for this 12 days, and you meet so many cool people that can influence you in so many different ways. And
yeah, no, it's just kind of you know, I have friends that, well, I mean, of course, I got lots of friends from other cities, and people that I've known, you know, just sort of for a long time, like you know, like, you know, the people like the Martin Dockerys of the world and people like that. And then of course every year I meet new people. But then I have two friends that live here. One of them, we used to be really good friends, and the other one we used to live together. And we seem to only, like, everybody's getting older, we seem to only see each other once a year. And it's like, you know, to go to, like, my one friend, she texted me and said, I'm in Toronto this weekend, but I'll be back, you know, on Monday. You know, you want to go see something on Tuesday?
Yeah.
So like we're just like, you know, we'll go see a show, and then my other friend who, you know, like, we used to live together, and I called him a couple of days ago to see, you know, what he was doing with it, and I don't know, like, I hadn't talked to him, and like we used to see each other every day, and I guess I talked to him last Fringe because I'd missed his birthday. He just turned 60, and he told me his mother died before Christmas. But I mean, if it wasn't for Fringe, like, I wouldn't, especially him, because you can't. You have to phone him. He's old school, and so you can't text him. I'm not even sure if I could send him an email. You know what I mean? Like, you have to call, and I hate the phone so much. And like, and he's the kind of person, like, if you really, really are trying to get off the phone the whole time, you can hold it to 20 minutes. If you're like really trying to, you know, like talking to my mom, you know, because once he gets going, like, it's a filibuster. You have to like jump in.
Yeah.
And
okay. Well, oh, and did I tell you about, you know? Yeah.
no, he just keeps talking, and and it's just like this, and there's no, did I tell you about, there's just this, he'll talk about the same thing. He'll talk about, you know, how he wrecked his car and he needs to find another car, but he can't find another car because they don't have any cars that he wants, because he wants a car. He wants a sedan, you know, he wants a Hyundai Sonata, but only like the, you know, one of the little bit older ones, because the engines are bad, and the newer ones, like all this stuff. Like, I thought, I've been doing some like ADHD autism testing, and with a psychologist, and I thought, like, I would, if my friend Darren, if he would just give me the papers, I would just stamp them for him. Like, he's like so on the spectrum, and so, you know, but yeah, but you know, I mean, we've known each other forever, and I mean, here is a thing that we,
it's like a touch point.
Yeah, and I mean, interestingly, like, there's so much. The stuff that he likes is not the stuff that I like. I mean, honestly, neither of them is going to listen to this, but like, when I go to shows with them, I usually, you know, I usually end up going to shows they want to go see, and I usually don't like them. One of them last year, I even fell asleep, and that was not just the poor mime's fault. That was me. I'd been working, you know, and not sleeping, but you know, because my friend Darren, he's interested in you know, the war stuff, you know, anything, you know, and there's a whole kind of a subgenre of, like, you know, war stuff, which I guess is custom made for old men. And I'm like, cool, but I'm not interested really in the war. But there's so much stuff. I mean, there's 156 shows.
Yeah.
Is that something like that? Is that
Something
my
like
close?
that,
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Are you going to try to go see anything?
I am going to try. I've only been to one so far, and it was just the one that happened to be right after mine, so it was convenient. But it was
good, can you tell us?
It was, yeah, it was good.
What was it?
It was Mr. Richards' magic show. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but it's at the kids venue, and it's a magic show. He's got some puppets. The kids were eating into that. The kids were like all in on him. So.
Do you always do kids shows?
No. I have done before. This is the first time I've done like a solo kids show.
Yeah.
But I started in kids shows.
Yeah.
We did Phoebe's Fractured Fairy Tales the first year that I was here, which was like kids. It was improv with bones. So like we took the bones of the fairy tale, like the regular touch points, and then like turned everything else. So we did that. And so I did Kids Fringe a couple of times, and then pivoted over into.
How come you're back at Kids Fringe?
Because I got in.
Because you got in.
I'm like, you put your name in both lotteries and you take what you get.
Fair enough.
So, I worked with kids for a long time, so I feel really comfortable in that space.
You don't hate them.
I not most of them, no.
You don't hate them like Neil does.
No. Definitely not like that.
It's so honestly, I think about it this time of year, and every time somebody says Kids Fringe or something like that, I just think about Eric Duvall, and how much just how much we miss him. How just how he was just such a lovely person, and I mean as a performer, like I've said this before, but like I could literally he could read the phone book, and he could have read the phone book, and I would have just he had this beautiful voice, and he would just this kind of like warm chocolate or something, and it was so sad. But I guess when you stick around long enough, this is what happens, right? Neil, are you going to try to go to anything?
Oh, I'm going to see as much as I can.
Yeah.
Most festivals, I usually manage to see 25 to 35 of the shows.
Pretty good.
And, to me, like that is the indispensable part of a festival, is being able to see each other's work and meet other artists and, really see what other people are up to. And, in my first job, touring full-time year-round, we would be in performing arts centers like the week after someone that we would love to see perform or the week before, and we're all ships passing in the night. At a festival, we're all here the full time, and we actually get to put our own work in the context of creative work, which is not to say that we're doing anyone else's job. Like everyone is doing their own thing as uniquely and as just so intentionally individual, independent artists doing what they do. So the idea of competition almost doesn't exist. And so what we are here to do is like figure out, all right, well, I know what I created, but also this other thing that someone else is doing gives me a new way to sort of reflect back on my own work and learn from other people's work. And it's just invaluable.
I 100%.
Yeah, I do like that it for the most part, it feels like people don't feel like they're competing. I mean, I've certainly heard people, complain about other people or complain about their venue or reviews or, whatever, especially if their show's not going well, as a person sometimes does. But like, generally speaking, it's very collegial. It's very, Adam Bailey this year is doing a show that's a collaboration with a Winnipeg artist, Kane Green, and they're bringing in people from out of town and people from here, which is just great. I think that is that's a thing that excites me, because I feel like as an artist, like what and maybe some of the things that the other people know, but there's a bunch of stuff out there that you wouldn't have thought of, that you wouldn't have I mean it's and really, like, even with people that are doing theater all year, like Fringe is so special because, like you say, you're not just there after somebody and before somebody else, like everybody's there. So I think that we should.
I'm an old school Fringer too. I pull out my book and I'm like, okay, I've got like, where can I get to? I've got like an hour and 45 minutes between now and then. So what's close enough for me to get to? How long is that show? I don't know anything about this, but that place is air conditioned, has a bathroom, so we're going there. And just like taking it all in, and you learn so much from the stuff that you find that you love, that hits you in a way, but also the stuff that you see and you're like, you know, I that didn't resonate with me, and why not, right? And what might I have done differently? Like, there's so much learning and thinking that you can do from that space. Can I keep talking? A few years ago, I TJ Daw was billeting with us, and so I was trapping him in my car every night and driving home, and we were talking about like what are we seeing, and what did I see, and why did I see it, and what did I like, and what didn't I like, and you know, like what director, like all of these things about, you know, and like thinking it deeper, and it was just fantastic. So that you don't get this kind of immersion anywhere else.
And if you're going to be trapped in the car with somebody, better, you know,
better
TJ Daw than
there are worse people to be trapped in a car with.
Jim Rolls. Because he won't let you talk. He's not here this year. He's exploring. He's finding himself in Kathmandu.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss Jem.
Yeah. Katy, are you going to try to go see anything?
I've been trying to see a whole bunch. Usually at least 2 or 3 shows a day. We went and saw the Sexy Pigeon show, which was fabulous. We went and saw Shakespeare. Patrick is an incredible performer. Trying to go see Filthy Shakespeare sometime this week. Just got to make it time out. That same evening, we went and saw Bullheaded. It was honestly incredible. What drew us to it, like you're saying, like you just kind of see what's in the guide and you go look, but it was listed as unclassifiable, and we were just like, what's that? And it was, I don't remember her name unfortunately, but she is an incredible performer. There were parts where I could see the reflection of the stage lights on her eyes, and her eyes were glassy, and it was just intense, and it was beautiful. If you are interested in Greek and Roman mythology at all, it's the story of the Minotaur, but told from the mother's perspective, and it is fabulous. She's also working at and running one of the other venues in town, so she hasn't been out billeting as much, so please like pass that around. Like, it's incredible, and I want people to go see it. So
this is something that we've been talking about here a little bit, and I'll bring it up again, but I feel like people who don't really go to theater, you know, who haven't, you know, not really their thing that they've done, it's hard for them to understand the energy that passes between audience and performer, and how, to me, like I've been thinking a lot, how live performance is our last bastion against AI, because you know, even you know, if you're watching anything that's recorded, you don't know, and it's getting increasingly more difficult to tell what's what. Even I saw something where this guy picked it apart and sort of proved, according to him, that even live, Michael Bublé is using auto-tune live, and we've always known that he's been using it on his recordings, but apparently he's using it live too. But when you're sitting in a 100-seat theater with, you know, on a folding chair with a bunch of people around you, and there's somebody up there, and the stage lights are twinkling in their eyes. I mean, there's nothing like that you know, that people that you can't really describe it to people if they haven't experienced it. And I mean, to me, that's about as close as we get to God, really. Yeah. So, but I do worry about just the AI stuff is so distressing.
That's what we talk about it a lot at the theater, because it's, you know, all improvised. Like, it's not fully immune to AI. I'm sure there's probably some way that someone has used it somehow, but I think one of the things I love the most about improv is that regardless of the character someone's playing, regardless of the story they're trying to tell, there is an element of their heart and their lived experience and who they are and where they come from and the life that they have led that is imbued. And I think it's the same thing when people write scripts and when people write music and when they dance and when they sing. Like, it's true human art is not replicatable because it's with AI, it is devoid of the emotions and the feeling, and no one person exists in a void. Every person is a culmination of everyone they've ever met. So it's beautiful to see how we influence each other.
And all that stuff
ways.
is it's unscrapable. You know, they can't
Yeah.
scrape it
Yeah.
off the internet and turn it and you know, because it's not you can't measure it. You can't copy it.
Yeah. I want them to get the AI to do my dishes and mow my lawn,
exactly, yeah.
so that I have time to do the art, not to do the art, so I have time to do the dishes.
Pick up the dog shit.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the artistic process that some of these, you know, tech wizards are like, oh, we're going to simplify your life. We're going to make it more efficient. And there have even been the ones saying like, oh, well, you know, we created this music AI bot because, you know, no one likes doing the job of composing. No one wants to do that part of the job. But no, the thing is, like, creating art that has never existed before is inherently inefficient. And we as artists grow so much in the process of developing it. I wouldn't give that part of it away just to be more efficient. I don't need to get there sooner. Like, there are definitely times when I kind of wish I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, but the process of getting there, every step of the way, is important.
And AI can't create anything new. It's, you know, if we just left it alone and if it stopped stealing stuff, it would just degrade and degrade and degrade because it just uses the human input. You know what I mean? It doesn't actually
it doesn't have curiosity.
Yeah.
But it has self-defense, which I think is really like crazy, right?
I talk about it with I'm a science teacher. I'm still currently doing my practicums and stuff, but I talk with my students about it because there's been a few times where they've handed in things that are very obviously AI. They've left the prompt, they've left the citation, which, first of all, if you're gonna cheat, at least do it a little better than that. But also I tell them, you know, like, I'm not getting you to hand in this assignment to me because I want to read about what you think about tornadoes. I'm getting you to do it because it is a way for you to practice what you've learned and to engage with what you're learning in a way. You know, I could make you take all sit down tests, do them in the room with me, and it's all just check boxes, but like, I want you to create with what you're learning. I want you to apply it and do something with it, find the joy in it, find the awe in it. Because I think that's what, I don't know, I think that's the biggest lesson you can learn as you know, become an adult, is to find the joy and the awe in things. Otherwise life's a little bleak without it.
Yeah. And to like also like to learn what you think about things, right? Like that the piece of critical thinking fits in there as well, right? I'm getting you to do this critical thinking, not necessarily because I need more information my own self, but you know, I've got teenagers, so you know, so that space.
I want to switch gears. We just have a couple of minutes left, and Neil, don't answer this if you feel like you're not going to be able to get back into your country. But is America okay?
No. No.
Is it going to be okay?
I really don't know. If it is okay again, it's not going to be what it was.
No.
And hopefully that's a light at the end of the tunnel, that there will be a substantial change, but it's rough.
Because I'm a little bit obsessed with American politics, and I'm always listening to podcasts and stuff, and it's so bonkers. I mean, you know, people know the general kind of outlines, but if you really get into the weeds on it, like, there's so many like very crazy things, and it just sort of, I mean, it's as bad as even the most catastrophizing pundit, you know, said. It's like, it's worse than that.
Yeah, it's all worse than that.
Yeah.
And I truly wish that any given day I could read the headline and go, oh, this is the most amazing satire ever.
Yeah.
But it's real.
Yeah.
And the consequences are so dire.
Is ICE in Boston?
They have been. Yeah. And there's a detention center that people have been protesting. And, it's not like Minneapolis. We haven't had those moments. But, Rameza Ozturk was snatched off the street blocks from where I live. I live near Tufts University. And, she co-wrote an op-ed in support of Palestine. And that apparently makes her a threat to all of us. No. So she had to be made an example of so that all of us would be more afraid and quiet. No.
And somebody was killed in the last week in small town Maine, which isn't, one of the big centers that, that they don't, wherever Detroit, Chicago, and all the, blue cities. I mean, just somebody in some small town who was obviously not even the right person. Not that there was a right person to kill, but not even the person they were looking for.
Not even the target. Yeah, we live in the era of the daily atrocity, and it's horrific. And of course, we can't just unplug and ignore it because that's irresponsible. But also, I'm so glad that I have this opportunity to not just get out of the country and Canada, but to come to a place where the creative spirit and the communal spirit is so alive and vital, and that if anything, I have a variety show. What's it about? It's about whatever I came up with to fit into 60 minutes. But if there is something behind it that I really felt the urge to create it for, it's like, if I can create a little bit of joy for someone else to reflect back to me, then I might have some joy in my life that I have been craving. So this is my act of resistance, is to create a little joy where I can find it.
Well, there's a lot of things that are depressing, but our slogan for our project here that we're doing is "Art will save us all."
Yes,
because I think
let's do it.
I think that that is the only thing that's gonna I don't think the politicians are gonna help. I don't think the billionaires are gonna help. I think it's the artists. Well, thank you all so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for tuning in over there. Stay tuned for lots more content. Thank you to my guest, Sherri, Elle, whose show is... What's your show?
The Not So Secret Life of Rowena Riddle, Superhero.
That's at Kids Fringe. Neil Parsons, 50% Nonverbal, which is over at...
the School of Contemporary Dancers.
Nice.
7. Just
up the stairs from the samosas and stuff. And Katy Welch, who is doing couch surfing.
We're at the Vinny 6, the Tom Hendry.
Oh, nice. Over at Warehouse. Thank you all so much. And why don't we say the thing that art will save us all? Let's sign us off. Okay. Okay. Right. Art will
save us all.
Thank you. Stay tuned for more.